All right, we're back. Happy afternoon, 12 o'clock here in the tank with Keith Deyo and Aaron Hairston. I'm so excited about today's topic, becoming the authentic version of you. And this is huge, right? And I have a story to tell, and I'm just so excited to share it today. And so as we wait for Keith to come on here, we're going to have a couple guests. I want to invite my good friend Josh over in the UK, once he gets on, to go ahead and share about the authentic you. And so how are everybody doing out there, man? BJ, what's up? Jamie, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Fantastic. Work Wednesday. Let's go. Ready to rock. Let's get this thing going. So one of the things that I've been really focused on is finding the true me, the true north, right? And finding the authentic version of myself. And this is challenging because a lot of times what ends up happening is we get caught up in our badges. And we talked about that before. And so we get so distracted from really who we are as an individual, whether it be male or female, Aaron Hairston or Keith Deyo, or, or yourself. And so as you start to look at, where you are in your life today, where are you showing up to be the best authentic? And that's the key here. So we're going to be talking about authenticity, the original you, what you have been created to do, and finding that balance, okay? Finding that ability to go ahead and just grow into the best version of yourself. And so I don't know what's going on here. I'm having an issue getting Keith on here, but what's going on, Eric? What's going on, Dros? What's up? Rashawn, what's good? George, what's going on? Keith, get on here, brother. Let's go. See if that one works. All right. All right. There you go.
There it is.
Awesome, man. Well, the cool thing about today, Keith, is I want to bring in Josh as well. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit today. Hey, there we go. Whoa. So yeah, Keith. So when we talk about becoming authentic versions of ourselves, right? Finding that true north. What comes to mind, when you think about that topic?
For me, it all starts from source. I think we've had that conversation before, and it also comes from something that I learned by studying Tony Robbins and going to the event Date with Destiny, when he talked about making sure that we stay within our masculinity, so that we can honor who we are, what our true energy is. And so when you have that profile, so that you can maximize your genetic potential. If you're a man and in your relationship, that relationship calls for you to be more masculine than feminine, then if you're going to get what you desire out of the relationship and it's going to work, it's going to be symbiotic, well, then you want to make sure that you identify what energy you need to be in at the right time. And so we will get pushed back and forth into those different energies, masculine to feminine, and you'll get a different result based on who the other person is. What traits are they going to when they're pushed into stress or put into a certain situation? And so for me, I know if I'm going to be in my masculine, if I'm going to be more in my masculine than my feminine, then I need to make sure that I am creating protection, and I'm also providing. And I have to be, at that point, I get to be affirmative, decisive, and make sure that I am not putting anyone else at risk or at more risk than they already are. If I was designed to take risks, I was designed, and I am motivated by uncertainty. I have to make sure that doesn't I don't put that on somebody else or ask them for that. And so I know when I'm in that mode, for me, that's my true north. And I know that that's where I am the most productive, especially when it comes to my wife and I. That's where I get the most done. Now, when I'm not in that mode, and before I understood all this, I studied John Gray, so I knew the language, but I wasn't quite sure on the posture and the courage piece that it took to stay within my masculinity. So when stress got high and things needed to be done, if I was sitting back being passive, that was me in taking more of a feminine energy, and then that pushed my wife into masculine. And then I got into explaining mode. I know there's a lot of guys out there that when they're in a relationship, what happens is something's not agreeable, and then the one person will take on the masculine role and the other person will take on the feminine role. And if they're both take on a masculine role, they'll be the argument will break down and they'll leave. If two people take on a feminine role, both the argument will break down and they'll leave. So to keep the situation symbiotic or going and moving in a direction, good or bad, you have to still have the two masculine and feminine traits. So when I'm passive, I want to explain myself. I want to defend myself. I want to blame, and I don't want to take ownership. And that version of me is more feminine than masculine. It doesn't mean that those traits are feminine, for all women or all females. But when I am in my masculine, those are the traits that I have most common. And I identified those. And when I identified those, I then understood it better, and I had a better energy. And I also had more posture and courage. And then I had a conversation with you, Aaron, last night that you were real passionate and patient about, and you found that in learning that and giving yourself permission to understand it at a deeper level, and for you, a faith-driven biblical level, that I feel like that is going to add extreme value to the conversation. And then you said you wanted to also bring Josh in as well, right? So I can jump off. You can go into your experience last night and then create relatability with Josh and then close it.
Awesome. So, Keith, thank you for that, because honestly, like, it's been very heavy on my mind all morning as I start thinking about, like, what am I going to explain? Because as we talked about last night, it's not something that's going to be easily explained as easily done, right? Yeah. It's one of those things that we just do. It's exactly, show me. And so I'm going to keep it really as simple as I can. Back when Adam and Eve were alive and God started this world. And again, I'm not religion on anyone. This is what I believe. This is my life. This is my story. And so I want to share this with you guys because it's important that I do that. And so when Adam was created, right, he was created to be that confident leader, right, to take charge and take ownership. And then, Eve was created. And then, obviously there was some temptation that was going on. And, and then, Eve was tempted to do something that, they were told not to do. And she went ahead and did it anyways. And then she brought Adam on, and Adam did it anyways. And then when God asked Adam, where were you at? Adam pointed to the woman. And that was a big aha for me as you start thinking about the ownership that we must take in life, right? And as a male, I know that we've been created to take initiative and build confidence, okay, and go forward in leading for others to believe in, right? And so that's something that I've been really, really focused on is how do I become the authenticity that I've been created in as a male, as a man, right? And how do I make sure that I take ownership in all the things that I'm doing as a father, as a husband, as a role model to others, just standing firm and using that initiative of confidence and leadership to go ahead and develop others. And so that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, is really seeking that inside of you, because it's not about the badges. It's not about, what other people want to perceive of you, as much as it is to help you to understand who you've been created and becoming more and more of that authentic self, so that you can realize your true gifts and talents, because we've been given some amazing tools and things that we haven't even tapped into. We've been able to use excuses that, will allow us to give others, or be passive and say, hey, listen, I'm not going to take ownership. I'm going to put blame on something or someone else because I don't want to take ownership because it hurts. I know it was my responsibility, but it hurts. And so I want to bring in my good friend Josh Cheatham out in the UK, because he talks about being the best authentic you and how to find that. Matter of fact, he has his own business, Be You, and it's so huge because it's something that we all must seek. So, Josh, welcome to the live, brother.
Oh, yes. How are you doing? You okay?
Oh, man, super fantastic, brother. Thanks for joining us. And I want you to elaborate a little more on that authentic you, and how can we provide value for those out there that are seeking that or don't even know how important that is?
Yeah, well, obviously, I think this conversation is so vital for anybody that's on this journey. So if you are tapping into this live, like, you are so fortunate and grateful to be able to sort of listen to this and absorb it and maybe utilize it and implement it in your life. So while you guys were talking then, I just kind of wrote down a few words and just really just thought of, well, how does that sit to simplify it for the people so they can then go and implement and take some sort of action. So first of all, which kind of came up with you two, is sort of definition and identification. So before you start to sort of be who you truly are, the first thing that you get to do is you get to identify it, and you get to really think about the definition of who am I as an individual. Now, what I'm passionate about is supporting people to be who they truly are and facilitating that process. Now, how do you do that? The only way you will ever understand who you are and make that step is by asking yourself the right quality questions. Now, I'll give you that because questions are so important, and that's so simple for anyone to implement, but it's also very, very easy not to implement. And my wish for you guys in the world, if you're watching this, the replay, is to make a choice to ask yourself quality questions, to then define who you are, to operate from that place on a consistent basis in every key area of your life. Now, if when I say questions, it's something that's quite alien to you, what I want to invite you all to do is just reach out to one of us and we'll give you a question to really spark that. Another few things that I written down was energy and feeling. So when I think about you and who you are, I always invite people to listen to their feeling and always identify and observe their energy. Because when you utilize emotion on a daily basis, that can be really, really powerful. And one thing that I want to pose everyone to consider is, consider a time in your life when you felt completely at peace, when you felt completely at inner peace, when you was in flow, you was happy, and you was feeling fulfilled. And consider that and ask yourself, how can I make a step towards that place of alignment consistently every single day with absolute ease? And it really leads me on to that last point, because one thing that's really powerful for me, and there's been a massive shift for my life and the people that I share it with, is when you choose to operate from inner peace, that's when you can express every inch of your power. Now, let's be honest, most of the world settle for a place of disconnect and stress because they haven't honored themselves enough to go, this is me, and I'm going to express every inch of who I am without judgment, so then you can operate from inner peace. So ask yourself, what gives you that peace on a daily basis? Now, what gives me peace is an all-round holistic approach to life. So considering the 5 key areas of my life, that's self, health, wealth, business, and relationships. We've got the answer to health. This is why we're on the call and we're sharing some amazing things. But when it comes to health, health isn't just your nutrition. Health is an overall holistic approach. And when you start to consider that, that's when you start to tap into your energy, because you're giving yourself everything that you need in terms of a physical perspective, but you're also giving yourself everything you need from an internal perspective. And that's kind of what we're talking about right now. So I just want to invite everyone to go, how can I operate from a place of inner peace on a daily basis? And don't get me wrong, stuff like heavy is going to show up, shit's going to happen, and the heaviness is going to show up. But when that shows up, are you going to allow that to make your mind run and it take over the day? Or are you going to allow yourself to say, I'm going to operate from a place of acceptance right now and operate from a place of inner peace to then step into your power, and then you'll find who you are.
Wow. And it's so powerful when you talk about inner peace, because a lot of people have lost that, right? They've lost the ability to believe that even exists, right? Because of all the responsibilities, because of all the things that they're involved in, and that the badges and all the things that society basically responds and says, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. They find themselves back in that box. And, Keith and I, we talked about the other day about, allowing people that box cutter, say, listen, cut a little hole in the box that you're in right now and just peek outside that little hole and allow yourself the belief that there is a better way to find your peace and your freedom. And it's about being authentic. It's not about the game we play with ourselves, about what we could be, what we should be, all those games, but it's really about who we really are. And those questions are so key, Josh. And I love that you share that, because again, these are things that we just don't hear about. We don't hear about it in school. We don't hear about it anywhere. And so what has allowed you to find those questions, and how do you propose that they start to implement those in their life?
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you asked that question, because it kind of links into what I've written down. One thing that something that you can implement straight away is to really start to feel. So feel into what lights you up. Feel into the reason why you're here. Feel into where you are putting your worth. Now, in today's society, it's very, very easy to start to put your worth in external things, to put your worth in the money that you've got, to put the worth in the job that you have, to start to tie your identity to material external objects. But when you shift your worth into the feelings and the emotions that you experience on a daily basis, that's when you will start to create magic in every area of your life. Because as I said before, that's really, really powerful because of the emotion and the energy that you're starting to feel into. So do less thinking and start feeling more, which is really, really important. And then start to generate some questions from there. And also ask yourself right now, where am I putting my worth? Now, what I feel in terms of where I put my worth is, my worth every single day is the feelings that I'm experiencing. Now, I'm so blessed to be able to have these conversations because these conversations are in alignment with me. They lift me up. They give me loads of purpose. They help me reach people all over the world. They help me support people and facilitate others to be everything they're capable of being. And every single other person can do that. And one thing that I'd pose everyone to consider is, you can always tell where you are by the quality of conversations that you're having. So utilize the conversations, listen to the conversations that you're having and say, is this conversation filling me up with joy, or is it bringing me down, and am I experiencing heaviness from it? And once you answer that question, you start to get to be a little bit ruthless, be a bit bold, but most of all, it gives you a tool for you to start honoring who you truly are as an individual. Now, that doesn't mean everything will show up straight away and the external world will all be fantastic and as your mind wants it to. But one thing that, more than anything, and I say this to every single person that I come across, people that I deliver workshops to, every single day I say this to them, my wish for you guys right now, if you're watching this, is for you to feel light and fulfilled every single day. Because I know if you allow yourself to experience that state consistently, what you can manifest and what you'll create for yourself and others and the people that are around you and for the world will be absolutely unbelievable.
And that's true peace, right? That's the freedom that we all have been granted. That's the grace that we've all been granted, is really being comfortable with who you've been designed to be and seeking that on every day as you reflect the conversations that you have, right? Because that's the moment that those two souls are connecting. And so it goes so much deeper than the physical, right? You know, we have in communications, that body language, you got all these things going on. But, you know, if we keep it surface, on the surface, right, we'll never receive what we're supposed to be getting out of that conversation. And so when you start to dig deeper, you start asking questions like, what do people want out of their life? You know, if there was one breakthrough in their life that they could create today, what would it be? You know, these are questions like, you know, even yesterday I asked a young man, I said, how can I be of service to you? And that's how I ended the call. And he goes, I have no idea. No one's ever asked that question to me. And see, that's when you start to realize that there's so much more need out there for our souls to come connected, to really find, you know, the purpose, right? And that freedom and that peace, that inner peace that we so desire every day, to know that we wake up with purpose, we wake up with drive, and we wake up with passion to go out there and just serve as knowing that you are going to be who you are, and you must accept it and love ourselves and forgive ourselves. And so with that being said, Josh, is there any final thoughts that you want to leave everybody with?
Yeah, the one thing that came up for me now, that what came up for me there in terms of when you was talking, and I just reflect this back before I shoot, is your questions allow you to go from a space from disconnect to connection, disconnection to connection. They allow you to go from lack of clarity to clarity. So give yourself permission to ask better questions. And if you're in that space where the biggest frustration for me is young people aren't being taught to ask good questions, to really understand who they are. So how can you ever set an intention when you don't understand who you are? So be okay with opening yourself up to support, because it's out there, to ask often, to reach out for support, to really ask yourself the right questions and then reveal who you are, to operate from that empowered place every single day. And if you're watching this, I'm here to tell you that I believe in you to be able to do that. Peace out.
Right on. Amen. Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us all the way from the UK. We're so excited to have you part of our family, brother. Go out there and have a fantastic day. And for the hundreds of thousands of people that are going to review this, look it over, share it. I continue that. You go ahead and comment below. Go ahead and share with us your thoughts, your feelings, your messages, and however we can serve and going forward, so that we can ask ourselves better questions so we can show up in every day even better than we did yesterday. God bless y'all. This has been In the Tank with Keith Deyo, Aaron Hairston, Josh Cheatham. God bless y'all. Go out there and rock it.